Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. So the day has nearly come where we're finished talking about Andor Season 2. This show has been such a pleasure to cover. But before we move on to other topics, Ahsoka, the Mandalorian and Grogu, I have one final theory I've been dying to share with you. As you probably know, if you've been watching my videos since the final 3 episodes, a big theme has been what is going to happen to characters who survive this show. Andor's child, Bix, Wilmon, Claire and Vel. But there's another character we need to talk about, a character on the opposing side, the Imperial side. You know who I'm talking about, Dedra Meero. Now you might be saying, well what do you mean Meg? Dedra's now in prison. She's in one of the Narkina prisons, one of the ones for women, and that is her fate. That's a wrap. She's probably gonna do hard labor for the rest of her life. But what if I told you, it doesn't have to play out this way? A genius fan theory has worked out a way to bring her back, not during the age of the Empire but during the age of the New Republic. And her story, were Lucasfilm to ever do this, plays into those of Wilmon, Vel and Claire, some of the main survivors of Season 2. Before I get too deep into the theory though, I will say as a disclaimer that the actress Denise Gough has come out since the finale to say she thinks we're done with Dedra Meero. There's no salvation, no way out, if you pardon the pun, and that is that. She's gonna do hard labor in Narkina until she dies. That is probably going to remain her fate. Lucasfilm's probably not gonna do anything more with the character, but what if they did? This is when a YouTuber like myself comes in and gives you a fan theory which you either say is genius, or you shoot it down and say, it's really dumb, I'll let you be the judge. But hear me out on this. The character of Dedra was, in many ways, the perfect example of the banality of evil. An indoctrinated Imperial drone raised in an Imperial kinderblock, later molded into an Imperial supervisor. Unfortunately for her, this put Dedra on a collision course with Krennic. Things started to unravel in Season 2, Episode 10. Dedra finally confronted Luthen. Her former obsession with Axis Cell had finally come to a head when she visits Luthen's shop on Coruscant. But things didn't go exactly the way she'd planned. Dedra thought it was going to be easy. Surround the building, arrest Luthen, take him in alive, question him, and claim all the glory for the arrest. But because Luthen stabbed himself with a Nautoland bleeder, and then Claire ensured that the Empire got no information from him, the unsanctioned arrest took a dark turn for Dedra. She was the one who ended up in custody, and things only got worse when Krennic found out about Loney's access to Meero's files. In the eyes of Krennic and the ISB, for all they knew, Dedra herself was a rebel spy. A false assumption of course, but it was too late. Her catalogue of errors sent her directly to one of the Narkina moons, similar to Narkina 5, where Cassian was locked up in Season 1. Showrunner Tony Gilroy and the actress Denise Gough have both said, that's it. That is the most fitting ending for Dedra, and in some ways an example of fates worse than death. What a horrible situation. But here's when the theory comes in. Did you know that once upon a time, Rogue One writers Gary Whitta and Chris Weitz had an idea for a Star Wars TV show set during the New Republic? So after the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi, and before the First Order, the show involved a New Republic team hunting Imperial war criminals, those who were once loyal to Palpatine who remained remnants in the face of the creation of Mon Mothma's new government. The show sounded very interesting. The New Republic team were akin to partisans, similar in some ways to Saw Gerrera's crew, rebels who would do anything to take down the enemy. In the context of more recent Disney Star Wars, this series would take place in what we call the Mandoverse. So let's say there comes a day where Lucasfilm wants to revive this concept. Imagine if they do it with the characters who survive Andor and the original trilogy. So imagine this, after Palpatine's death, the New Republic liberates prisoners from the Narkina moons. The electric floors, the torture, the forced servitude, the methodology of Palpatine's prisons were deemed too inhumane. So some of them are transferred to New Republic prisons, some of them become part of the amnesty program, and others with minor crimes are liberated. In this scenario, imagine Dedra Meero is still alive. Because it's case by case, before being too hasty, every prisoner is given a fair trial, a retrial under the New Republic. But because we know in canon the New Republic is extremely incompetent, for whatever reason, Dedra finds a way to escape. Whether she pulls an Elia Kane like in Mando with the amnesty program, or escapes the New Republic altogether, somehow she finds a way to evade reconviction. In this hypothetical series, the New Republic then tracks her down, but what makes it more interesting is Mon Mothma, the Chancellor of the New Republic, probably remembers her by name, and she's become infamous for a contribution to the Gorman massacre. So in this hypothetical show, Bix, Clea, Wilmon, Drina, and Vel form a rebel team to track down Dedra. The mission is risky, but what the New Republic doesn't know is that Dedra's been feeding info to a wider network of Imperial remnants, ones which will eventually found the First Order. Could you imagine a show like this? That would be the perfect follow-up to Andor Season 2. It can have its own separate tone and identity, it's set many years down the line, and maybe it's something to re-inspire Tony Gilroy to come back. I don't think it's going to happen. It's such a far-fetched idea in the long shot, but I think it's a really good one. This way there is no obligation to show where these characters are during the original trilogy, and instead you pick up right after it. I love that concept. Unfortunately though, it does mean there's a strong chance these heroes fail and die, but if you think about it, each of the rebel characters has a personal vendetta to get revenge over Dedra. She wronged all of them, whether it was Ferrix or Gorman. I can't imagine Denise Goff likes the idea because she already said this was the perfect way to end things. She was glad Dedra didn't die, but she's also happy she didn't become a rebel. A popular fan theory the week of the finale was, after Cyril's death, what if Dedra defects? What if she joins Yavin? I personally just couldn't imagine that happening. Maybe it would have been better if she ended up on the Death Star, but as Denise said, quote, "It was poetic to see someone who's been all about control being placed in the ultimate controlled space. What would be even more poetic is if one day they confirm that what Dedra's working on in prison is construction on the second Death Star. And this would render my idea for a sequel to this show even more poignant. I mean, surely somewhere deep down one of the reasons Tony had Dedra live was to maybe allow space for the character to return one day. No one's ever really gone, and in Star Wars we know it's always no body, no death. So Dedra seems like this is her fate, but there's a New Republic government coming in a few years, and maybe she finds an opening to escape or be pardoned. This would only add to the problems that the New Republic faced, not dealing with proper threats. I never really envisioned a redemption for the character, so I personally think that's out of the question. But somehow escaping, manipulating her way to a position in the Remnant, that to me could make sense. And to make this theory even crazier, what if that's the plot of Rangers of the New Republic? The Rangers being Wilmon, Vel, Clea, Bix, and Drina. That would blow my mind. It would be a very different take on what the original plot with Gina Carano and Cara Dune was going to be. But what do you guys think? Is this a good idea or is it terrible? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, as always, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Check me out on socials. The link to my Patreon if you want to support what I do is down in the description. But until the next one, may the Force be with you, always.